People often ask me, who is the best lender for a VA loan with bad credit? I did online search, and that question's asked quite a bit because there are so many options out there for the VA home loan. And so in this video, I'm going to outline some things to look for in a lender and a loan officer when you are researching this particular topic. So the first thing to know is the VA home loan actually has minimum credit score. Now, there are some very standard guidelines with regard to payment history, but there is actually no minimum credit score. Now, that being said, there are a lot of what are called lender overlays, and especially if your score is on the low side. Each lender has their own rules because the VA loan has so much flexibility in the way they give lenders their own guidance, but each lender has a little bit different rules. So there's a lot of what's called underwriter discretion in the VA home loan process. And I would also say you need to find a loan officer that knows how to go through the system. If you're going with somebody that is their first time dealing with a manual underwrite or a lower credit score deal, they just might not know who to talk to and exactly how to proceed. So here are some of the different types of companies you can look at, and really I'll give my recommendation at the end. So the first one are banks and credit unions. Now, banks and credit unions can be good for car notes and certain types of loans, and for HELOCs, they're great. I even have one in my house from a local credit union. But for a VA home loan with a low credit score, the issue is that, one, they have minimum credit score requirements, which can often be a problem because that's the whole reason you're looking for a VA loan with a low credit score. It's oftentimes you might be under a bare minimum score. They might say it's 620 or 640 is the minimum score, and you're out the door without even having a chance to explain yourself or even show the circumstances that would allow you to get a loan. And secondly, because of the way licensing is, people don't realize this, but the licensing requirements to be a broker versus to work at a bank are very, very different. That I have testing and a lot of CE requirements they just don't have. It's kind of a carve out of what happened after the financial crisis. And so that what often happens is that the less experienced people will work at banks and credit unions. Now, there are a lot of great people who work at banks and credit unions, don't get me wrong, but you just don't know. Sometimes there are people there that are there because they didn't want to take the test and didn't want to take that extra step. But really, it's the much tighter underwriting that's the real problem there. Like, so you've got online lenders, your Rocket Mortgage, Veterans United, those kind of places. Now, those types of loan officers tend to work in volume. They get a very, very small amount of money per deal. And the way they make it up is in volume. They might only make $500 or $1,000 per closing, but they're doing 10, 20, 30 loans a month. And